Hmm. All right. Looks like we're live. Getting started in 3, 2, 0. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to go live here for about hopefully an hour, but once I get talking, it tends to really drag out the process. We're going to make a 6-gallon batch of traditional mead. I think I'm going to do a buckwheat because I'm a big fan of buckwheat. Before we get started, I'm going to hang out with you, open a bottle here. Yeah, I see some people joining the stream. Hey, welcome. I am unable to see chat right now. That'll change once I get back in the production area, but cheers to everybody. Like to hear what you're drinking. It's kind of customary in the mead world to get started with some good mead. So I've got a 2-year aged vanilla buckwheat blossom bochet here, and I'm looking to replicate that minus the bochet today. So this was aged 2 years, um, and then most of it was drank. But I did find a few more bottles, so I thought, hey, since we're doing buckwheat, let's do some more buckwheat. All right, so on the agenda today, I'm going to be doing some screen sharing of Beersmith. So I know everyone has their own methods for formulating their recipes. A lot of people just grab them online and just go for it. I tend to make all my own. I used to do all the gravity estimation math myself in a notebook, but now I'm lazy. The older I get, the more batches I do. Um, I pretty much just use Beersmith to add all my fermentables, um, essentially come up with a recipe, an estimated original gravity, an estimated final gravity, and once you craft your batch in Beersmith, it really is quite easy to nail your starting gravity, especially if you have good Brix readings for your honey. I highly recommend when you get a honey, if you have a honey refractometer, um, which is a special refractometer, you can measure that honey and find out that it's 79.5 Brix. You plug that into the software, man, the estimates are pretty good. So first of all, cheers. There we go. Ooh, I'm glad I didn't drink all that. All right. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to bring this camera back in the production area and we'll get started. Let's see. We're going to position this one for over at the sink here. All right. I'll be right back. All right. So, I'm going to turn on the lights. Be right back. Yeah, all right. So, hopefully all this technology works. All right. Should be seeing my Beersmith screen here. So Beersmith, really great. They have some cloud recipe storage, so you can make a recipe like on your phone and then access it from your tablet. It's really great software. Can't say enough about it. So what I tend to do is to have separate folders for each of the stages that my meads are in. So I'm going to go into future here, click add recipe. I'm going to name this recipe. I'm going to say semi-sweet buckwheat traditional. I have edited this substantially. I'm not going to go through everything, but my default recipe is geared for a batch of mead here. So all I really need to do next, let's see. I'm going to do no carbonation. Okay. So first things first, add fermentables, buckwheat blossom honey. Oops. And let's say we're going to add 18 pounds in primary. I'm going to do a 6-gallon batch. So 6 times 3 is 18. And let's see here. One of the good things here is it shows you your volume. So 1.5 gallons is going to be the volume of this honey. I'm going to open it up. Just check the sugar content. Got 82 as my Brix reading. Let's see here. I'm going to go double check to make sure that's right. All right. I've measured all this and let's see. There's what I got there. My buckwheat honey is 81.5 Brix. So I'm going to adjust that in the software real quick. Take you off there. Now let's see if can I see chat. Jim Soulis, hello, hello, hello. Yep, the process is moving along. Awesome. I can see chat. At least some chat, so that's great. Now, 81.5 Brix. Now, you can see that it's 1.5 gallons volume. I'm doing a 6-gallon batch, so it's a real nice, easy math there. I'm going to go ahead and click add water here over to the right. I've got a entry that I made for my own processed reverse osmosis water. We're not going to add 6 gallons. Let's add 4.5. So that 4.5 plus 1.5 equals 6. Now we're going to add our yeast for traditional, good old D47. So package date, that is not correct. Got it about a month ago. So yeah, that'll be good. One really cool thing about Beersmith, I see a lot of questions online about, I've had this yeast packet in my fridge for like 6 months. Is it still okay? Beersmith does some pretty cool calculations here where I can say, if I got this yeast in the year 2000, it's only going to be 5% viable. If I got it in 2010, it's going to be 6.27% viable, which means it's basically toast. If we got it a month ago, it's 88. If we got it today or tomorrow, 26, let's just say, it says it's 90% viable. So basically what it's saying is freeze-dried yeast is never 100% viable, but you know, you probably only need a 10, 20 billion cells for your colony, and one little 5-gram pack has like 200 billion potential. So you really are not going to run into problems unless your viability is super, super low. Okay, so I'm just going to add that. Now, direct your attention down here. Estimated original gravity, if I mix 4.5 gallons of water and 18 pounds of buckwheat blossom honey, that is 81.5 bricks. The estimated starting gravity is 1.112. And the estimated final gravity is 1.002. So using this as my benchmark, I'm going to ask myself, do I want it that dry? I personally don't like buckwheat honey that dry. So what we're going to do is, buckwheat mead, sorry. Let's say what happens if we added 19 pounds of honey? Oh, that'd probably put us at about 1.009 final gravity. That sounds a whole lot better. Let's do, I want to end at 1010. So I'll do 2. There we go. So it's telling us our starting gravity would be 1.120. That's right down here. That our estimated final ABV would be 15%. And our estimated final gravity would be 1.010, which would just be into the semi-sweet. So that's what I want to go for. If I do have a good fermentation, I will may have to back sweeten. This is where we'll enter a measured OG later, but I'm going to go ahead and save this. I am going to change the beverage color. One of the cool features here, I know it's going to be kind of brown, but it's going to be so super dark. I'm just going to click the dark glass, and you can see over here it changed my image. A lot of cool features on the software. The final thing, let's do this now. Click starter. Now over here, you can see we chose D47. It's saying yeast cells without starter, yeast cells needed. So here we go. It's going to tell me I need 1.1 packs. I believe I misspoke. A 5-gram pack is about 200 billion cells. So sorry about that. So what it's saying is dry yeast packs, this is its estimate. So really what we're going to do is 12.6 grams of yeast. This is how much water we're going to hydrate it with. This is how much Go Firm we're going to use. This you can choose what your nutrient schedule is going to be like. D47 is a low nitrogen requirement yeast. So I'm going to leave this set as at TOMSA. Fermate O, there are some other options if you're going to use Fermate K. The software is great. Everything looks good. I'm going to click this Add Nutrients to Ingredients. Okay. And what it does is I'll click OK here. Now, we're not adding any fruit, so we don't need pectic enzyme. We've got water, honey, yeast, nutrient schedule for the first 1, 2, 3, and 7 days, or a third sugar break. So this is going to be easy. It's going to be easy. 1.120. So let's save one more time. And let's get started. Let's break out our equipment. Okay, I'm going to stop screen sharing this for now. Let's go. What do we want to do? All right, technology is cool. All right. So what are we going to need here? We are going to use the pH meter. Let's see. We're going to use the pH meter. We will be using this large 200 cc syringe. We're going to be using good old graduated cylinder. One good thing, as you can see, 200 cc's there on the cylinder, and 200 cc's on the syringe. So this enables you to just take a sample that perfectly fills this syringe. So real good setup to have. And let's see here. We're going to need a couple of shot glasses to measure out our nutrients and our yeast. A measuring spoon. Let's see. We need anything else? Yeah, I'll mix my yeast colony in that. We're going to use some Go Firm. No pectic enzyme, no fit end. Okay, good. All right. So that's my hodgepodge of stuff there. Cheers, everybody. Again, thanks for tuning in. I just figured I was doing this today, so why not? So let's see. Bring you guys right over here. Sanitizer, very important. I'm just gonna drop everything in that bucket right now. Let it sit there for a good long while we get our fermenter sanitized and ready. What I'm using here is, I'll break out the bottle for y'all. It's called Star San. Most people have seen this. Star San. You do not need to rinse it off. You do not need to rinse it off with cold, dirty faucet water. It's an acid-based one-step sanitizer that is awesome. So, next, boom. We're going to go ahead and use the 6.5 gallon wide mouth bubbler. Check that boy out. Get myself a lid. Let's see. All right, here's the lid. We'll drop it in the magic sanitizer bucket. You see, got a standard bung with a hole in it. Got the top. It's got a rubber gasket here. I'm going to drop both those in the sanitizer bucket. And of course, going to need an airlock. So we'll just, drop that in there. Right. Now, I've got here is it's basically a fish tank pump connected to a pipe with some sanitizing solution in there. So you put this pipe in there. You turn your deal over. This is pretty challenging with one hand. All right. Technical difficulties. All right, let's go with this. I've got a switch on the wall here. As soon as I turn it on, bam, sanitizer. We'll also go ahead and take our dual wheel and just spray the crap out of this thing. Really, just get it soaking wet with sanitizer. All right, I think that's good. Go ahead and turn that bad boy off. We will let it just kind of drip dry right there, okay? Gonna line this back up over here for when we do our yeast. Right. Now let's start laying all this goodness out here. Like I'm saying, there's sanitizer just dripping off this. It doesn't matter. Leave it on there. Don't touch it with anything. If you're worried that you got something on it, just re-sanitize it, okay? Right. Hey, Donna, D47. Yeah. Let's see. Matt. All right. Wow. Chat. Sorry, guys. Let me read this chat. I really need kind of an assistant for doing this. Yeah, D47 runs dry. True. I ferment at pretty low temperatures though, so my fermentations tend to kind of crawl. All right, let's see. Chris, Shelly. Awesome. All right, guys, let's see. Oh, I've got well, none actively fermenting. That's why I'm getting started, going at it again. Here's just for that question. Here's what I got bulk aging and clarifying right now. So it's about 28 batches, I think, about 250 gallons. Okay. We're going to get down to business. Now, one of the cool things that I cannot stop doing, let's see. All right. One thing I really like doing is doing my water by weight. So let's see if how can I share this? Let's see. Okay. Water weight calculator. So what you can do here is say for the 4.5 gallons of water that we're adding, let's say it is not 70 degrees in here, it's more like 60. Click convert. We're looking at 37.519 pounds of water. So since I'm going to do everything on a scale, weight is way better than volume when you're trying to nail your business. So let's go weigh out some honey. Okay, let's see. Okay. Boy, being the producer and the mead maker can be a little challenging. All right. All right. I'll see you over at the honey station. Let's get this set up a little better. Hopefully it can work. There we go. So, got an Anvil Brewing Company scale here attached to the readout here. We go ahead and set that right below the fermenter we're going to get from. Turn it on. Make sure it's tared, okay? Looking, gonna tare one time. All right. Put our fermenter on the scale. Tare again. Okay, we're going for 19.2. So let's get this baby right over here. Here we go. 19.2. Let's see. Can I put this somewhere where you guys can see it? Yeah, cool. Tare one more time. All right. Release the honey. I'm going to have to poke that. Be right back. Well, that's embarrassing. That is gonna take forever. Okay, looks like my honey is real cold, guys. But it's coming out, so let's see if we can do anything from the top here. Yeah, should have kept my bee blanket on there. I'm a bad boy. All right, we'll get this going. All right. That looks better. Still gonna take like a half hour. All right. What's even more embarrassing is I have bee blankets unlike these other buckets of honey. All right, I guess I'll stir from the top too. Really get this loosened up. There we go. That is funny. Mr. Bee Blanket Man doesn't use one. Oh, wow. All right. Okay, that's going. Boy. All right, we're moving now. What are we at, guys? 2 whole pounds. Woo wee. All right. Well, while this is going, I do have to say I had an excellent time at the Edgewood Celtic Renaissance Festival the other day. Actually ran into a new mead maker from Carlsbad. So boy, what is it? Dark something. Dark something. So yeah, guys, there's another meadery in our state. So we were the only one for 3 months. Anyway, their mead was really great. The guy was super cool. Look him up. Yeah, if you're down in the south, look up embarrassing dark something meadery out of Cruces. I mean Carlsbad. All right, well, I think I have time to go get a refill, so I'll be right back. All right, we're back. So, so may as well go over the next steps. Come up with a game plan. Once we get 19.2 here, we're going to put approximately 30, 35 was it pounds water in here. We're going to read it on the scale till we get whatever it was, 35 plus 19.2. We'll fill up to that. We'll stir it up. We'll take a gravity reading. If our must looks good, we'll move on and we'll start rehydrating our yeast. I have music on in the background. Hopefully It's not getting picked up by my microphone. One of the things I did recently here with the honey buckets was I finally realized having 5 gallon honey buckets and 5 gallon dispensing buckets was a real pain in the butt because in order to refill a 5 gallon bucket, you have to use exactly 5 gallons of honey. So I finally upgraded to these babies are 7 gallons. So um, once I have, 24 pounds of honey left or whatever, um, I can dump another 5 gallon bucket in here and restock. So that life has been so much better since then. Because man, I would end up making a kitchen sink mead right at the end, so I could refill my ferment or my honey buckets. I would I would like take 4 pounds of orange blossom, whatever I had left, and I would make a kitchen sink mead, which comes out great. I mean, it's essentially like wildflower honey, right? If you mix a bunch of honeys, but this upgrade has been quite nice. All right, we're getting close, so I better focus. Close the gate just a tad. Going up to 19.2. At this point, I start chopping off little chunks of honey. Booyah. Now, just need a sec. I always clean my honey gate immediately. It's a constant battle when you have this much honey and this many batches going on in a warehouse um, to keep the ants away. For me, it's ants. Um, we'll see what happens this summer. Um, I'm sure it'll just be worse. But yeah, we have a lot of ants around here. Trying to get in my batches. All right. So 19.2. Let's go do some double checking. All right. Let's see here. This is our water weight, plus 19.2. There's 7 point.
37.519. 37.519 plus 19.2. 56.72, we'll call it. So 56.72, that's what we're going to load up the water with. Let's see here. Here we go, 56.72. All right, 56.72. There you have it, folks. Next, we're going to stir it up. I think I'll bring it over to another spot. So, see you over there. Oh. Now, one of my favorite tools, the drill attachment for stirring. Right here. I'm going to go get the drill. Sanitize it. In the, what does city steading call it? The, like the magic bucket of sanitization or something like that. They're hilarious. If any of you are just learning city steading, not a bad channel on YouTube. All right. So, go ahead and attach this bad boy. Check to see if we got some juice. Yup. All right. Yeah, this is going to take a lot of stirring. Yeah, I'm disappointed in myself. Ordinarily, I would have had warm honey from the bee blankets, and it practically, I'm not joking, it practically mixes itself when you've got your honey at about 95. All right. All right, let's check this. one of the things we're doing right now, guys, too, for the beginners is, if you're not aware, yeast has two states where they've got an aerobic state there in the beginning when they're uh, multiplying their cell count. They require oxygen in the solution. So what we're doing now is we are adding a little bit of oxygen to this, especially once I get it all mixed and I start really agitating the top like that. And that's gonna really give the yeast the oxygen it needs to replicate. Everybody also usually typically knows that oxygen is bad once you get past a certain point. So, you know, for the first couple of days and now, getting oxygen in there is good. All right, there we go. Let's get this really going now. And I don't play around at this stage. I mean, I don't play around. I'll probably splash the camera. I kind of get out of control here. I don't care though, man. The more oxygen, the better. And this is the only way I add it, through this drill attachment. I don't do any oxygen stones or any of that stuff. I just stir the living hell out of it. But for now, we'll give it another blast once we pitch our yeast in there. So, there you have it. Now, let's see what Chad is doing. Little wheelie platforms, eh? I wouldn't mind one of those. I actually have one from a live Christmas tree me and my wife got when we were dating, and I use it sometimes, but we really wanted to plant that tree, and the tree died. Okay, and sometimes when I use that platform, I kind of get sad that I killed the tree. So, all right. So let's see. If there's anyone brand new, what do I do next? Do you know what I do next? What should I do next? I'm hoping someone says, take a gravity reading. Let's see how close to 1.120 I actually got. All right, let's get back to business here. We're going to take our there we go. So we've got this action here. We're going to draw a sample. Hopefully we've mixed it up enough, and we'll get 200 cc's here. Drop 200 cc's right here. All right, let me just drop this off in the sink real quick so I don't make a mess. And then drop that right back in the sanitization bucket. All right, let's see. How'd we do?
We are low. We're about at 1.112. So it could be that my Brix reading was not quite right. So let's go back over to the bucket. We'll top this off with a little extra honey. We'll get it up to 1.120. I have a second thought. It's a little bit too off for me. I'm going to try stirring a little bit more. Just make sure that it's not that I didn't fully mix the honey. All right. We'll give it another stir, another gravity reading, and if we're still low, we will add more honey. I don't want to be too hasty with that, though. A little bit too hasty, you can mess yourself up, or mess up your batch, I should say. All right. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. One other thing I want to mention about this is when you have crystallized honey, and that honey was a little crystallized, you can have some sugar locked up in those crystals, and if they're not dissolved in your solution, your gravity reading is going to be too low. So that's basically where my mind's going right now. So I'm going to extra stir this and take a little extra time here just to make sure I'm not starting with a higher gravity than I really want. Right. Yeah, I basically just take everything straight to the sink, rinse it off, then put it right back in the sanitizer. All right, let's see how we did. Yeah, so let's see if we get higher than 1.112. Always give your hydrometer a good twirl. Okay, I'm gonna go clean off this syringe and that thing with dirty faucet water. Then I'm gonna drop it in my sanitizer bucket. Put it right over here on my work table. All right. No, we're still low. All right, let's add a pound of honey. I know. This is the exciting part, huh, guys? All right. Back to the honey cam. Okay, we'll take note of this right here. 56.68. We'll do 57.68 and then see where we're at. All right. Pretty close. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Now I'm doing that one pound because I want to know how to adjust my recipe um, if I do need that. If this lands us where we want to be, I'll update my recipe immediately. And next time it'll go a lot easier. All right. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get myself some fresh towels. I have a system. Yellow only touches food stuff. Black can touch the ground and never touches food stuff. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, let's get another gravity reading from this bad boy. I see we have some. Hey, take another drink. Yeah, thanks, Jim. For all those who don't know, Jim is my dad, and he is 10 times cooler than I ever could be. Here's to my dad. Just turned 80 the other day. Surprised his butt off by flying to the Northwest, Pacific Northwest, and surprising him at his birthday party. It was awesome. Cheers. All right, let's get 200 cc's out of here. Yeah, one thing I love about Brian at City Setting is he he doesn't give a damn. You know, he's like the best hybrid of both camps. You know, he makes Mead like a Viking. He makes Mead like a Viking, but he also respects science, which I love. I love because you know you get people that are in one camp or the other, and they argue. They're like, you don't have to do, you don't have to do any of that stuff. Nothing. You just use some bread yeast and you know prison style. All right. So we're up to. I'm going to set that on a level surface. Having trouble reading it. Let's see. Can it get that? Boy, it just can't focus on that, can it? All right. Oh, well, I wanted to take you along for that reading, but I just can't. It's looking like we went up from 1.112 to 1. Hold up. 116. So that added 4 gravity points. We want to be four higher, so I'm going to add a second pound of honey. Should be spot on. I have to admit, though, this is a little embarrassing for Beersmith because I know I'm not that off on my bricks reading of the honey, and I know I added water exactly as it should be. So who knows? All right, 1 more pound of honey. Let's do it. All right, we're going up to 58.68, and boy, this sucker is splashing. It's too bad. Got to remember to warm my honey before the next live stream. 58.68. Let's go. All right, there we go. Nailed it. Right. Little kitties wandering around. That's hilarious. You know, if you pay close attention to some of the reels, actually, the last reel I released about putting bags of fruit in secondary, about halfway through, there's a Maltese poodle sighting. One of my poodles just shoots across the floor, because I'm actually speeding up the footage. So yeah, when my dogs walk by, but it looks like a just pew. Um, but hey, it's no kitty. All right.
So by now, this this is quite oxygenated. I really don't think we're gonna have to worry about the yeast having enough oxygen to really blow up on the first day. Like not literally, but figuratively.
All right, baby. Third time's the charm, isn't that what they say? Here we are. All right. Oh, one thing about these syringes, I should probably tell you all in case you're super excited about them. They only have one downside. The downside to these syringes is after being in contact with star sand for enough times, the rubber gets super sticky, and it becomes nearly impossible to plunge with one hand. Um, so there is a little bit of a negative factor there. All right, what do we got here? Let's try one more time. Looks like 1.122. A little bit over, but hey, we did it. All right, let's swivel back around here. Boom, to my nice messy lab area. So 1.122. Let's go back to our software. Not only did we add 2 more pounds of honey, so 21.2. We also have a measured original gravity of 1.122. So oddly enough, now the
Oh yeah, the estimated went up. Yeah, just like you said, I forget who you were in the chat. It will probably go drier. I do end up with like 15 point something usually. So hopefully it'll taste good. That's all I want. I just don't want some nasty ass dry buckwheat mead. That ain't nobody got time for that. So I've updated my recipe. Now I do need to put this sample back and get ready for yeast rehydration. So just give me a sec to reset my equipment for that. Ooh. Let's see here. We will need that. We will need that. Okay. Let's put all this. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the honey area real quick. I cannot leave this this dirty like this. Not allowed. Yeah, so recently I've done quite a few experiments with buckwheat honey. I mean, I really like to hear what your experience is, but my general experience is doesn't make the best melomels, number one. You know, there's so many better options for a melomel, you know, which if you're new, a melomel is a honey and fruit mead. Um, it's just not good. But where I believe buckwheat honey shines is in a traditional or in a coffee mill. Not a bad choice for a coffee mill. I'm gonna say that. Let's see. All right. Not a bad choice for a coffee mill. Vanilla takes to vanilla really well. Acer Glen's really good honey for your maple. Uh, Boucher banana is actually the only fruit that I really like with the buckwheat honey. There is there's not a lot. There's not a lot of combos really that I like, but traditionals are one, coffee mills are another, Boucher's with vanilla. Chef's kiss. Let's see. Buckwheat honey, yeah, its own strong flavor. Yeah, yeah. I tried a strawberry buckwheat. Um, boo. Two thumbs down. Like I had so much trouble saving that. It's funny though. I busted. If you next event here, you'll see how I try to serve that. I might just save it yet. Let's just put it that way. I got some ideas. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more thing while I'm over here. It's kind of outside the plan, but let's just go for it. I need to bee blanket these bad boys because I'm going to be using them all weekend. This weekend, next weekend. So I'm going to drop a bee blanket on the buckwheat. So this pail warmer will get it up to, you know, I've measured it. It was about 95. You know, I haven't used them in the summer, but I probably won't anyway, because, you know, your honey's already warm in the summer. So, but I imagine in the summer you could exceed 100 degrees, which is obviously what you don't want to do is heat your honey past 100 degrees. I think everybody pretty much agrees on that. Plug this bad boy in, and one more. All right. So in the winter, especially this warehouse, when I don't heat it, stays around 60 degrees, which is not ideal for storing honey. And so that's why I'm really big into these bee blankets, because I don't have to heat my warehouse, which costs a friggin' fortune. And for most of my yeast, it puts it right around 58 to 62 degrees, which is a nice slow and low fermentation temperature. I'm a true believer in slow and low. I'm not into those hot Quebec fermentations. I just don't like them. They're okay, I mean, but I mean, to each their own. My style, slow and low. All right. So, yeah, okay. Everybody's, oh, look at that. Oh, just the clank can't count. Okay, let's do one more. See, if you're interested, they just have this clip. Get that started. Got a little notch for the where the honey cake goes. Stand up the pail handle. Drop it right on. Tuck it in and reach back there, and basically just pull the ripcord so it's tight. Yeah, I've used this for all kinds of stuff. Like we harvested honey from our own hive and ended up, you know, didn't have enough to fill a bucket, so we put it in mason jars, and you can make a nice little thing with that. You can put all your mason jars, put one of those bee blankets around it. I put a bucket lid on the top, made myself a nice little warm little sanctuary. A little mason jar sanctuary. Okay. All right, we're all plugged in, ready to go. Yeast time. Oh wow, let's do an infinite mirror thing next time. Okay. All right, so while I kind of clean this bad boy up, we are going to, first we're going to weigh out our yeast. Then we're going to weigh out our gopher. Then we're going to heat some water. So let's see. Cheers, y'all. Finish off my glass. Now let's get down to business. Want to make sure your shot glasses are super dry. Those. That's my, got my measuring Well, I don't really use it for measure. It's just a scoop. Let's see. Let's go through with a better camera angle right here. All right. All right. So this is what we're going to do our yeast in. We're going to measure out our D47 and our Go Firm here. Hey, hey, the queen bee has just arrived.
Hello.
You're on a live stream, baby. You can talk to any camera you want. That one, this one.
Hi, everybody.
There you are. Put your little face in there.
Hi.
Yeah,
How's it going?
this is the queen bee.
How's
Donna's chilling. Dad's chilling. I mean, we need some kitties. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Brian and Derica do have. Oh, soul daughter. Dad said, "Hey, soul
Hey,
daughter."
Soul Dad. How's it going? Hey. Hey, so I didn't know if you wanted to do a crochet today.
Nice.
I brought your welding gloves back.
Crochet glove.
Crochet gloves.
Cool. Yeah, we're just about to do yeast for the for that bad boy right there. All right. All right, folks. So the queen bee has arrived. Are you going to stick around, honey?
The queen bee has some other things to do, errands, but she's very excited about the prospect of all these new batches.
Yeah, we don't have enough batches yet. All right. Well,
All right.
you have it, Alyssa, aka Queen Bee,
Hi, everybody. Yeah,
aka my favorite person, right
mine
there.
too. I'm excited to see all the new batches coming out.
Yeah.
Bye all. Oh, by the way, your front is open. Do you want me to shut that?
Yes, please.
Okay, will do. All right.
All right. Sure. Yeah, sure. Lock me in. All the crazies in here. All right. So let's take a trip to the fridge. There's a little yeast area. Obviously, you always want to refrigerate your yeast. I get such big batches. I really don't keep them vacuum sealed, but I use them so quick. They survive really isn't an issue. So now let's get out our micro scale. That's what we got right here. All right. And let's measure out what we're gonna do here. So I've got my D47, got my Go Firm. Hold on, technical difficulties. There. Good, good, good. So this is the way we do it with Beersmith. We go to the starter tab. We look at our dry yeast needed based on the criteria we gave it, and we know that we want 12.6 grams of dry yeast. So I'll put this right on there. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I can't use glass. I got to use light plastic. All right. Let's measure out 12.6. And then we're going to do 15.8 Go Firm. So 12.6, 15.8. 12. A little bit over. Let's grab some. All right, we got 12.6 there. Put a new cup on, tear that bad boy, and we need 15.8 go firm. So let's do 15.8. Okay, just about there. 13, 14, 15.6, 7, and get a tiny bit more. Went a little bit over. 15.85, a little bit over. Okay, that's good. So let's cap these and get them back in refrigeration. And then we'll talk about what we're going to do next. So one of the good things about Beersmith is it does, not only does it give you how many grams of yeast to use and how many grams of Go Firm to rehydrate that yeast, but it tells you also the optimal amount of water to rehydrate your colony in. And in this instance, it's telling me 315.45, right? So we're going to look on here. We're going to go just a little bit above 300 and let's see. My water is actually over here. Get ourselves 315. Put that bad boy down. Give ourselves 315. So I'm going just below the halfway mark between 300, 350. Okay, there we go. Now, fermentation temperature. That is the next deal. So what I do is I heat my water up to for this particular yeast at least, I heat my water up to 110. By the time, and that is too hot to rehydrate your yeast. So what I end up doing is 110, by the time I'm done stirring in all that Go Firm, which is the yeast nutrient for rehydration, the temperature is about to 102. That's the perfect temperature for D47 rehydration. So that's what I'm going for here. So you're going to want to bust out your thermometer and take your water and head over to the microwave. So about 30 seconds, we'll probably get it most of the way there. So we'll get it to hopefully these really good investments. So we'll bust it out, give it a little time. I like to stir it up just a tad. Yeah, we got a long way to go. Drop it in there for another 30. Microbiological fermentation hobby, and not care about really fine tuning your yeast process, you just don't seem that interested in this hobby, Uh, so that's my attitude. I'm big into nailing the right temperature, measuring everything out to a 1,000th of a gram, all that. I find it totally satisfying. All right, we're perfect. 108, 109, 110. It's probably going to be a little hot, might be 111. Let's go and drop our go firm in here. All right. Here's the go firm. Let's get a better spoon. Here we go. Get a good, nice stir going. All mixed in there real good. So I just want to explain a little bit of the strategy here. As you know, laboratory cultivated yeast are very consistent. They're practically, genetic replicas of each other. Wild yeast, well, they're just wild. They're a bunch of yahoos, right? They don't need a whole lot to get going. But once they do, they're wild. The flavors they create are wild. They're inconsistent with each other, And what you want to do here is you want to create an environment where your laboratory cultivated yeast is the dominant organism in your fermentation. And so what we're doing right now by creating a go firm solution of water and yeast nutrients, what we're doing is we're giving the yeast the nutrients they need to be prepared to duplicate themselves, grow a colony, and begin fermentation. Now they're going to need more nutrients than we're giving them right now. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to add nutrients to the must, not for 24 hours. And there's a very good reason for that. If I add nutrients to my must right now, I'm really only going to be feeding the wild yeast nutrients. So they're going to get a head start on our laboratory cultivated yeast. And so the whole reason you use Go Firm to hydrate your yeast is to charge them up and give them all the food they need to make a big colony in the first 24 hours. Meanwhile, the wild yeast, they're in there starving. They don't have the nutrients they need. And so by the time you pitch this yeast in there, this colony is going to be so charged. It's going to be so healthy that it's just going to dominate, and it's going to squeeze out all the wild yeast out of that and eat up all the food. The wild yeast is going to have nothing. Your lab yeast is going to have everything. We win, wild yeast loses, and you get a very clean, very consistent fermentation. Your flavors are reproducible. They're Just very good, very reproducible. So that's why we're doing this. And that's why we're not going to add like fermate O, fermate K, DAP. We're not going to add any of that stuff until 24 hours goes by. So what I'm doing right now is checking my temperature, just like I expected. It went down from 110 to about 104. So what I'm going to do, take this out. I'm going to just stir a little bit more. I don't want to shock my yeast. So I'm going to stir it and try to get it down an extra 2 degrees before I drop my yeast in there. It's amazing how fast this happens too. Let's check it. We probably did 1 degree just off that stir alone. Let's see. 98, 100. Yeah, 102. Looking good, looking good. Okay, let me just sanitize these two things real quick. Right. Drop them over here. So, what we're going to do next is take our D47 and we're going to stir it in there. I'm going to prep for that by breaking out my plastic wrap. Yes. We're going to get started. Now, we're dropping freeze-dried yeast into a nice solution of water and nutrients. At this point, we're going to give them 15 minutes to rehydrate. Once we're done, we're going to do other things during that time. All right. Yeah, it's going in there like butter, baby. Okay. I'm just going to make sure there's not a bunch sticking on the side. Get that going. Give it one more stir. I tend to leave the spoon in there. Rip off a plastic wrap. Boom. Shalaka-laka boom. Okay, there we go. Now let's go set our timer. Now, time to do other things. During this period of time, I am going to print out my recipe. As everybody knows, I'm going to hang it on a clipboard. You guessed it. And probably pour myself another drink. Let's go do that. Go over to let's go ahead and we'll go back to our, let's see here. All right. We'll go back here, go back to design, save our recipe one more time, make sure we entered our measured OG. We'll go to session actually real quick, and we actually don't need to do that. Let's just print out. File, print. Oh, there's a print button right there. All right, let's just look this over. March 1st, March 26th, just making sure the date's right. Everything we did was right. D47. Yep. Everything looks pretty good to me. So we'll send this off to the printer. All right. Fill up our glass. So thanks for your patience, everybody, while I'm doing all this. All this technology and all these different cameras and stuff. It's a little bit of a chore. I really could use a co-pilot, but here's the office. There we go. Get this out here. All right. Let's go get it on the board. As you can see, I'm running real low on clipboards. And I've got some inserts somewhere around here. Let's see. Yeah, go. So as home brewers, generally we're not super concerned about reproducibility, but since I am commercial now, I am inserting these in waterproof sleeves. I'm keeping them on the batch. I'm tweaking the recipe all along the way. And once a batch is done, I'm taking this and I'm dropping it in a notebook so that we have a real good record of exactly what we're doing. So, drop this bad boy on here. Right. Nope. And I felt some stickiness. Gonna take care of that right away. Oh God. All right. Let's head back into the tasting room and fill up our glass. The old Bacchus pouring spout, fan favorite. Cheers, everybody. If you tuned in late, this is a 2-year aged Bochet, 2 years on oak and vanilla. So it's heavy vanilla, heavy burnt marshmallow. Does have a little bit of a caramel because the burnt marshmallow combined with the vanilla tends to make this, I don't know, it makes an artificial caramel. It doesn't taste artificial. I'm just saying somehow a caramel flavor is manufactured from that. It's one of the beauties of your brewing. This baby is about 4 years aged at this point, so it's definitely my private stash. Anybody who's tuned into this and headed to Beltane Southwest at the end of April, I'll be pouring you a glass of this.
So my goal is to, boy, I'm gonna try to wrap this up in 10 minutes. I got I might be maybe 15. Um, basically our last step is going to be to acclimatize our yeast. So what that means is uh, we paid special attention to our yeast rehydration temperature, right? It probably would have been better for me to go 108, 109, stirring that go firm, have the temperature be reduced to about 102, stir in the yeast, right? And now they're happy. They're rehydrating in there, colonies getting excited, right? Um, my must is probably a cool 65, if that. It's super, I didn't heat any of the water, super cold. So what we're going to do is acclimatize the yeast rather than just take that yeast and boop, pour it right into 65-degree water. Yeast cells don't like that. They want to gradually get warmed up to it. I mean, just think of yourself. You go to the pool, the water's cold. Only certified insane individuals just launch a cannonball off into that 65-degree pool, you know? Not me. Not me. I'm gonna dip my toe in. I'm gonna put one leg in. I'm gonna splash up my body a little bit and get like ready for the impact, So there's there's like a lot. Uh, there's a lot of analogies between that our human life and yeast colonies, right? So what you want to do is warm them up to it. So what we're going to do is take half the volume. So we did 315. So we'll do 157.5 cc's of the must, and we'll add it to the yeast colony. So we'll basically squirt a little must into that lab beaker, and then we'll let it sit for a little while longer. If the temperature difference between the must and the yeast less than 15, that's kind of my rule. The less the better, based on how much time I have. You want to get that yeast culture to be about 15 degrees Fahrenheit or less to the must. Then you dump that bad boy in, stir it up, drop the top on, put an airlock in that bad boy, walk away. Start your nutrient schedule the next day. All right, let's top off here. Go see how much time we have left on our yeast rehydration. All right. Put you down right here, back where you belong. There's our little yeasty boys. Ah, Jim, right on. Let's see, how long ago was that? No, not long ago. Jim, thanks for tuning in, my man. I would be drinking from my mead horn, but like I can't set it down. I can't set it down. So yeah, I'm just going with the old school brandy snifter. Really gets, if you haven't used one of these for mead, I highly recommend it. It just, the curved sides of the glass, they just and the large volume there, you can really sample the nose off something with a big old glass like this. I mean, I'd get a 25-ounce version of this if I could. They're kind of pricey, but hey, this is good enough for me. So this is kind of my glass of choice, honestly. Although I do have a couple new mead horns. Now would be a perfect time to show you those new mead horns. We got 4 minutes left. I'll be right back.
We got a couple really nice pieces from the Edgewood Celtic Festival the other day. Actually, I'll just bring you with me. So excited about these. I was hoping I'd have a reason to show these to you guys. Okay, I'll bring them right back. I'll be right back. Okay, I'd say the first two pieces. Check these bad boys out. Fluted mead horns. Look at those bad boys. Ooh, with the gold rim. Damn. This one, similar, silver. It's got the leaf, overlapping metal leaves going up, and it's got the, yeah, look at that. Check them out. Boom. Pretty dope. And now, the moment they've all been waiting for. Yes. Look at that. It's got its own stand. It's got very ornate metal work. This is like a light gold colored rim. Boy, I don't know how many ounce it is, but here we go. We've got, looks like the front of a Viking ship. Look at that. Ah, so cool. Yes. So I can just sit right up on here. Boom. Sit on your table or whatever. This is the one I should have used because I could have set my drink down. Getting a battery warning on this camera. It's about time to move. We got 20 seconds left, so it's time to move on. So we're going to give it a nice stir. Get a little oxygen in there. You can see that it's foaming. You can just see the activity. It's coming to life. You can feel it. All right, that's my timer going off. So what are we going to do? We're going to put about 150 cc's of must. Hold on. We're going to get about 150 cc's of must added. So let's do that quick. 150. And the reason it's 150, and I'm going a little bit small, is we rehydrated with 300 milliliters. So I'm just going to put the must right in there. Get them warmed up to the pool. It's a cold dip today, guys. So get ready for it. Add that in there. You know, I'm sure there's a couple of yeast cells just shivering in there, like saying like, WTF, fool? What the hell? So we're gonna stir that in, drop that cover back on. Boom. We're gonna wait another 10 on this. So I'm gonna go set the timer, wash this off. Timer 10. Clean off my syringe. now would be a good time to just check out where we're at. I'm going to take a temperature reading from this must down here. Just see, how cold is it? 60. Locked in at 60. Ooh, rough. So we got 60 there. We want to have 75 here. Now I'm not gonna, I wouldn't do it yet, but let's just check our temp here. We're at 70. We're at about 80. So the right thing to do would be to, we're going to do this one more time. Yeah, sure, it's probably a little boring, but hey, you know, this is how I do it. So, hey, we're gonna just do it by the book. This is the Mystic Ambrosia way. So, we've got 8 minutes left. Then I'll squirt in 50% of the volume of this water. Of this colony. So we're up at about 500, about 250. So we'll take a syringe of 250 milliliters from the must, add it into here, wait another 10 minutes, pitch, oxygenate, put an airlock on it. And the mead will make itself. So let's see. Typically, while I'm rehydrating yeast, I start another batch, but I'm trying to just to do one batch from start to finish in this this live stream. So what I would do here now is, let's see. You know, while I'm just chilling, I'm gonna take a pH reading with a pipette, and yeah, okay. This is something that I typically do while I'm just waiting around. I'm going to use this pH meter and a pipette and this little lid. We're going to get a temperature reading and a pH reading because the pH, there's a happy place for a mead fermentation. So what am I trying to say here? By Ken Schramm's book, The Complete Mead Maker, which is kind of like the holy Bible for mead making, still like 15 years later. His range is this: a pH of 3.7 to 4.5 is optimal for your mead fermentation. Wild yeast typically cannot thrive in that range, especially when you're at the low end. If your pH is too low, like if you add a bunch of lemon juice, your yeast, even your lab grown yeast, is probably not gonna do well. It'll produce off flavors. It may just stall out, and you may end up with a big batch of sugar water until you raise that pH. So what we do is we make sure that the pH is as close to 3.7 across the entire fermentation life cycle as possible. So that's what I'm going to do now. Just take an intro reading. So let's do this. Take about 3 squirts in there. Drop the top on. Turn it on. See what we got. Beautiful. That's what we like to see. 3.7, baby. We're going to leave it right there. Seriously, that wild yeast, it's got nothing to eat. It's in a 3.7 pH solution. Got nothing to do. Toast. So that's perfect. I'm going to sit it down there because it's going to average out. It'll probably go up to 3.8. It looks like our solution is at 59.4. So we're at 3.8. Good, good, good. I am going to go here back to my Beersmith software. I'm going to go to session. I'm going to click add reading and say our temperature was 59.7. It's actually going up 59.9. The pH meter averages and averages and averages. So the values go up slower and slower and slower. But we're at 59.9. We're at our original gravity. We got a date and time. So what we're doing is we're adding a point on this graph. And as we take readings, we'll get to see the fermentation progress as it goes lower on the y-axis. We approach a higher alcohol and lower sugar content, and the x-axis is time. So we put our first reading in there, and we are going to continue to take those readings periodically. And I see now I've averaged up a little bit. I'm just going to update this, 60.1, and we're at 3.8 pH, which is great. So now that we've done that, I am perfectly fine with saving this recipe, closing it out, going to the cloud, taking this semi-sweet buckwheat traditional. I'm going to drag it into one of my folders. I'm going to say primary, above half sugar break. So I drop it in there, go in there. I've only got one batch at that stage. And what I tend to do is then I'll move it down to here as it progresses. Then when it's in secondary, I'll put the recipe in here. And then when it's bulk aging, whereas this is where everything I've done so far since we started the meadery is in here in bulk aging. So we're going to be bottling pretty soon. So this recipe is going to live in here until that yeast consumes half of the sugar content. And then we'll be stopping management on it. That's kind of a separate topic. So I just want to keep this conversation to starting a batch. So I'm done with Beersmith for now. Everything's good. I've got my recipe printed. I've got all my readings in there. I've adjusted my recipe to reflect reality instead of estimates, which were obviously not perfectly accurate. Yeah, we're just going to wait one more minute. Okay, I'll jump the gun here a little bit. Let's go ahead and get 250 milliliters of must. Well, okay. My syringe is only 200. So we'll get as much as we can. Let's see. Rip that open. Yeah, I don't even know if 250 would fit. All right, there we go. They're slowly getting ready to drop into the pool. Okay, that's about all I can fit in there. Okay. Give it a little stir. We'll take a temperature reading just to see. We should be, yep, we're right at 73, which is less than 15 degrees. Difference between the temperature of this and the temperature, of that. So that's what we're shooting for. 10 more minutes, and then we'll wrap this up. Going to start my timer over again. 10 minutes. Start. Now for this 10 minutes, I'm going to just oxygenate my must a little bit more. Get a little more oxygen in there. Because as we were talking about earlier, the yeast enter an aerobic phase at the beginning where they multiply. We want them to have a lot of oxygen for the first, for me, for the first 3 days. So I'm going to add nutrients at 24, 48, and 72 hours. All of those, at all those points, I'm going to try to get as much oxygen in here as possible. Then I'm going to stop adding oxygen after the 3rd day. At that point, then, the yeast will start fermenting and they'll start generating alcohol and carbon dioxide. Then for approximately the next week to 2 weeks, I will be degassing, which is agitating the solution to get the carbon dioxide out of the wine. And that will basically allow the yeast to continue to perform at the most optimal, in the most optimal way. As carbon dioxide builds up and alcohol builds up, the yeast begin to have trouble with their metabolic process of converting sugar into alcohol. So we can take the carbon dioxide out by stirring it, but we do not want to take the alcohol out. Am I right? So what we end up doing is at a certain point, the yeast produce so much alcohol that they just quit. A lot of we call it fully attenuated. Yeast have an alcohol tolerance. D47 is about 15. A lot of people achieve between 15 and 16%. So we'll see what we get. I'm pretty used to getting about 15.5 to 15.7. But you never know, right? Sometimes it just doesn't work out, especially if you do things like add unfermentable sugars and the like. So yeah, so what we're going to be doing then is pitching this yeast, as it were, into the must. We're going to stir it up, and then we're going to wait. We're going to add oxygen for 3 days. We're going to take carbon dioxide out for a week until it gets to half sugar break. That's my jam. Yeah, and we're gonna add the final dose of nutrients at either 7 days or 1/3 sugar break, whichever comes first. And I should probably explain, half sugar break is easy. That means if you started with a gravity of like 1.100, 1.050 is half sugar break. But 1/3 sugar break is generally when you add that last dose of nutrients. And the reason for that is you're at the point where the colony it has enough nutrients. It's as large as it's going to get. And adding more nutrients after 1/3 sugar break, you can end up getting a nutrient flavor in your mead when it's done if you just keep adding nutrients. I mean, imagine if you dump like a half pound of nutrients in that must. It's going to taste like nutrients. And there's no way your yeast is going to consume all that. So part of the game here is step feeding your yeast the nutrients it needs as they need it, and stopping before they stop using the yeast. I've added nutrients so late in the process that not only did they not consume it, but I had brown yeast nutrient rafts floating at the top of my batch as it was bulk aging and clarifying. So seriously, take that measurement. If you're about to add that last nutrient dose and you take a gravity reading and you're at half sugar break, just don't add it. Don't put it in because you missed it. Don't do that.
You missed it. Oh well. If you miss 1/3 sugar break, don't add your last nutrient dose. That's my advice. That's how I roll. The other way around is bad flavors. All right. So we've lost one camera. Let's see. There we go. All right, we're back online. So yeah, that's my spiel on nutrients. It's getting a little outside of the scope of starting a batch. Obviously, you don't really need to know that until the next day, but I'll probably do another live stream here soon, just to in case there's anybody here who wants to follow along. What I'm doing right here is just making sure I get any sticky residue off this thing. We really don't want to attract the ants in here. I'm killing them every day. Good thing star sand kills ants. I just want to let you know, just dead ants. So that's kind of nice. Got a bug killer and a sanitizer here all in one. Let's see. We got 3 minutes. Let's get our airlock going. Okay. I use vodka. Boom, vodka. Open this up. Grab a pipette. Fill this airlock up with some good old-fashioned vodka. That way you get a nice little tasty treat later on down the road. Don't let it go to waste. All right, that's got that in the bung. Got this here. Got this. So we're getting our cap ready. And we got to put our rubber bushing on here. All right. One thing really to note about these wide mouth bubblers is you do not want this to be wet. You do not want this to be wet. And then everything will seal perfectly and it won't get pushed out. If you put that top in wet, the pressure from the fermentation will push that lid out. And then you won't get a good seal. Bugs could get in, stuff like that. Okay, let's take a look. 1 minute left. Let's rush it a little bit. Ready? Let's pitch some yeast. All right, we'll take this off. Okay, good. Give it one more stir in case there's anything sticking to the bottom. And away we go. Be free, little yeasty boys. Be free. We've created a feast for you. Yes. You're doing Odin's work there, little yeasty boys. Now, since I aerated this so heavily, I'm not gonna go crazy. Just gonna froth it up kind of good. There we go. All right, I hear my
timer going on. Ooh, it smells so good. Gosh, you know, buckwheat honey. It's a little bit of a challenge to use well in mead, but it is my favorite honey, hands down. Just tastes like molasses, you know? Man, I guess if you don't like molasses, it wouldn't be good. But now we're gonna take our sanitization gun. We're gonna squirt this towel a little bit, get it nice and wet. Swab the inside of here, and you know, I just said we don't want this to be wet, but don't worry, I'm gonna dry it. So I'll take the dry side, really dry that inside. Got good, nice sanitized neck. Now this technique, you want to pull this airlock out before you jam this in here. Otherwise, it's going to shoot all your vodka right out the top. So you drop that bad boy in there. Give your airlock one nice squirt so it slides in real nice. Right. And I always go just to where it pokes out. There we go. So, there you have it. Mead is born. Well, that was about a 2-hour process. Honestly, that usually takes me about 45 minutes to an hour. But, you know, when my mouth is running, time is passing, you know, so yeah, wasted a little time, but hopefully you learned something about the scientific process surrounding yeast rehydration and yeast health. You know, that's one of the most important things to me, making sure our yeasty boys are happy, healthy, and produce some really high grade mead. All right, let me check the chat. Yeah. Just stir. How do you degas without adding air? Yes, you just stir. You stir gently. During and this is to Shelly O, as far as I can tell. Shelly, basically you just gently stir. I will not, when I'm adding oxygen, where is my piece? When I'm adding oxygen, I'll use this. You know what I mean? This sucker will, if you're not careful, you'll end up with meat shooting right out of the fermenter, right? When I'm not adding oxygen and I'm just degassing, use this little guy. I just get in there, right? Stir it around real gently, get a little swirling motion going on. Always degas before you add nutrients. If you just dump your nutrients in, your nutrients will fall through the solution. They'll act as a nucleation point for the carbon dioxide. And you ever see that elementary school volcano experiment the kids do? That's what'll happen to your mead. You dump that powder in, that all the CO2 gets agitated all at the same time, and there's nothing you can do to stop it, especially in the first week. Later on, but when you add nutrients, what I'm trying to say is good 5 minutes of stirring your batch. Once you're stirring it and it's not bubbling up too much, it's not foaming up too much, you add your nutrients in just a little bit at a time, and you won't have a volcano experiment nightmare. All right, let me just see. What did I miss? Yeah, with the leaves. Yeah, Donna, I'm gonna serve you your next drink at Mystic Ambrosia. Gonna be in one of those dope fluted mead horns for sure. You deserve it. For all those that don't know, Donna Johnson
Johnston, sorry, is an excellent mead maker herself. We met at Beltane at the Mead Makers Circle here in New Mexico, and she made a mean pomegranate. We both have prickly pear mead. So next time we meet up, we're gonna compare our prickly pear meads, I believe. And yeah, she's a great all-around gal. So let's see. To Visconti Rogue. I have a YouTube series that I'm making on how to get licensed, how to start a meadery. Just go to YouTube, find my channel, Mystic Ambrosia. I only have the choosing your location portion of that meadimentary done, but I've got a script written, and the next episode will probably be out in the next like 3 to 6 weeks, and that's going to be all about the licensing process here in New Mexico. So basically, the short and sweet is you need a federal license. It's called a federal basic permit from the TTB. It's pretty easy to get. You need a properly zoned facility. You need to get a state license. That varies widely across the United States as to where you can get licensed. Like, do you have to be in an industrial zone or a commercial zone, or can you do it in rural residential out of your garage? You know, there's a wide variety of what different states will allow. Then finally, you need to be safe to open to the public, and that's your local municipality, like your city if you're in a city, or your county if you're out in the county or whatever. They'll have to come in and inspect you, make sure there's no risk of electrical fire. They'll inspect your plumbing, inspect your building, make sure you have you know, all the stuff, handicap parking, that you got a sign on your bathroom door, that you know, you get an occupancy load, and you get that sign that says, you know, maximum occupancy, like 88 people or whatever. And so those are the three things: federal, state, city. And they basically care more and more about federal cares about almost nothing except for that you pay taxes, that your bottles are labeled not in a misleading way, and that your formulas aren't going to kill people. That's what federal cares about. State, they care about taxes. They care about that you're not doing it in a place where you'll cause, you know, annoyance to like your neighbors and all that. And they care about your taxes. Like, they care that you can produce enough. Like, I had to have at least 3 BBL worth of production gear to get licensed, because they want to know, is this guy going to make enough mead so that it's tax worthy. There's a bunch of other stuff, but then the city really cares about, when people come into your business, are they safe? And they make sure nobody's going to get hurt. So that's the licensing process in a nutshell. It took us 9 months to get licensed, and we have production gear we haven't even fired up. I've got my big fermenters here in these crates. That's going to be our next phase, but I'm trying to formulate our recipes here with all these batches. So these are all our pioneers. We've tweaked them. We've got them all going pretty good. I'd say about 90% of them are delicious. I've got a couple that were just bad experiments, but like I said, strawberry buckwheat, don't recommend. Anyhow, so let's see if I missed any other questions from the chat. No. Yeah, you do have to have your recipes approved. It's called Formulas Online, and then there's you have to also have to have your labels approved. There's rules. You know, you can't call something mead that's not at least 50% fermentable sugars from honey, for example. You can't do 20% fermentable sugars honey and the rest like, you know, some kind of fruit concentrate and label it as mead. You would have to call it would be you know, whatever, like raspberry fruit wine with honey or something like that. So they make sure that you're not false advertising. So they make sure that your ingredients are good, that you're not like, making peyote wine or something like that, and that your process isn't dirty. And if it gets weird enough, they do require a lab sample. So you'll have to take a sample of your product and ship it off to be tested by the formulas people. But my recipes are so basic and natural, just fruit, honey, water, yeast, no weird chemicals or nothing like that. I don't even use clarifying agents, so all my stuff just rolls on through. It's a good way to be. Yeah, shout out for handicap parking. Awesome. Yeah, true. That was one of our setbacks was the lines on our handicap parking were too faded. So they inspected our sprinkler systems. We had to redo the conduit for some of the electrical work we had done so that it was metal instead of PVC, because that gives the fire department like 30 more minutes before an electrical fire breaks out at your place. Like I've learned so much, I've learned so much, but we're finally here, and the next step is to take some of these bad boys, put them in these big fermenters, really get going, and then work on our packaging and our bottling. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have a few special events, but our first festival is going to be the Cavern City Ren Fair. It's the second annual Cavern City Ren Fair in southern New Mexico, in a city called Carlsbad, notorious for their big dope cavern, and their bat cave, like a real bat cave, you know what I mean? Not this Batman crap. So yeah, we're gonna be down there. It's gonna be, I think, that like the last weekend in September, and it's gonna be our first festival. So if you know of somebody selling a 10 by 10 or a 20 by 20 like carnival tent with like, let me know. I'm in the market. Anyway, I just want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. Yeah, hopefully some of you learned something. If you have anything to teach me, please just comment on my event. I'd love to hear what everybody has to say. And yeah, subscribe to us. I post a lot on what do I do? I do TikTok. I do Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So mostly reels. I do a lot of 1 minute video reels with no talking, just me doing stuff, and kind of like the show and tell without the tell. So yeah, subscribe, follow. Be sure to smash that like button. If that's not overdone, I don't know what is. But honestly, it's all about the mead. So thanks for tuning in. We'll do this again. And if y'all are in the state, look up Beltane Southwest. I'm gonna be there with some mead. We'll just hang out at my tent and drink some mead. I'll pour you some good stuff. Also in the fall, Mystic Mabbin. It's another pagan gathering here in the Southwest, kind of in the Albuquerque area. So look that up. It's called Mystic Mabbin, Mabon. And the Beltane Festival is Beltane. It's basically the spring festival. If you've never done the maypole dance, register for Beltane, get your COVID booster, show up with a tent and a bunch of camping stuff, and hang out. It'll blow your mind. Anyway, this is Clint from Mystic Ambrosia Mead. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and cheers.